Well, I know all about it, but my problems with not just Bitcoin, but with the current crop of cryptocurrencies is really more to do with the fact that the world governments are not going to allow this to have traction at any level because, and again, I always go back to this quote by the Rothschild family way back in the day that give me control of the nation's money supply and I don't need to write the laws. And there's no way that they're going to allow us after all these years of clamping down on Switzerland. They say, okay, yeah, let's have an anonymous global currency, just give up control of the money supply. It's outrageous to think that they will allow this to take hold. That's my biggest issue with it.
Do you differentiate between Bitcoin, which has the biggest market cap in terms of cryptocurrencies, and some of the smaller coins, the ICOs of the world, for instance, when you make that parallel between cryptocurrency and the scams you used to run out of the boiler room?
Well, there's two things. See, Bitcoin itself is not a scam, I don't think. What's happening is there are scams around it being perpetuated because by its very nature, it's a dark market. You can't see what's going on behind the scenes. And, people dive into that and use it to rip others off. So it's not that Bitcoin's a scam, but its nature allows scams to occur. And that's what's been going on.
So it might even be better off for Bitcoin in the long run for the SEC to step in, as they've done in terms of cleaning up the chat rooms for penny stocks, et cetera.
Right, but I don't think that's what's going to happen because there are besides
Why
the
not?
scam. Well, because besides the scam, there's problems with the central banks don't want it because they need to control the money supply. They spent all this time trying to stop money laundering. So why now allow something that's an anonymous currency that lends itself to make money laundering very easy and hard to track down? There's no way that it's in their best interest to do that. I don't believe there's any shot in the world that will let that happen. That's my opinion.
So you think governments are going to step in and squash it?
Well, they already have, and it will get far more aggressive. And also, we don't even know how bad it is yet. There's investigations that have been announced and are underway. And as they say, the wheels of justice grind slowly, but they do grind forward. And I am extremely confident that you'll see that when the truth comes out of what happened over the last couple of years, you're going to see massive fraud, manipulation. There's issues with Tether, which is linked to Bitcoin. So there's huge problems, I believe, regulatory-wise, and you're seeing the tip of the iceberg right now.
How much, as a former money launderer, how much easier is it to launder money with a cryptocurrency than with using the standard banking system?
No, it's significantly easier because, again, by its very nature, there's no central authority regulating it. That being said, at a certain point, it has to be converted back to a regular fiat currency. So at that point, it becomes vulnerable. But, either way, just look at it logically. The governments have spent so much money and resources trying to stop money laundering. Why on earth would they say, let's just give up control of the money supply. Let's just let anyone have anonymous. There's no, it defies logic. And also, there's the technical issues, like it's a massive waste of energy. It's an inefficient for the merchants to do it. It's very expensive and slow. So it makes no sense. There's no good reason why this should exist other than pure speculation where get more people involved so we can make money on the early investors. I don't see any reason for it.
Well, if you think it's a scam, does that mean that there should be criminal charges against so-called scammers?
Of course there should be. Listen, I would probably think 95% of people in Bitcoin are totally legit. But it's the 5% that kill you every time. So, people that are scamming should go to jail. And those who aren't scamming, well, I feel bad because they're probably going to lose all their money or most of it.
What do you think gets the SEC or other regulators to step in, Jordan, at this point?
Well,
when you're watching this story unfold, does there need to be a huge scam? Does it need to be a big swindle like the one that you staged?
My guess is that you're going to find probably with this Tether that is linked to Bitcoin, it's used to they're supposed to have 1-for-1 with the dollar. My guess is that there was never 1-for-1. It's being investigated right now. And when that comes to light, it's just going to be a disaster for the whole basket of cryptos. That's my guess.
Right. The question is whether or not there are enough U.S. dollars to back each Tether that's actually being circulated.
I would be absolutely shocked. The evidence that I've seen right now says that there's not. And there was these weird swings where Tether was issued at these opportune moments. Like when you needed it to be there to support Bitcoin, it was issued. I don't know. It doesn't make, listen, some very smart people besides me are saying the same thing. It just defies logic at every level. And also, remember, I made this call 20,000. Right? So I originally said it's a scam. It was 20,000. Now it's 6,700, right? So again, I don't know where it's going to end up, but think about it logically. Why, if Bitcoin really had a use, why should it go up? It's just as useful at $100. You can divide it an infinite number of times almost. So there's no reason for this inflation. It makes no sense. So to me, that's just a scam. Why is it going up so rapidly? Doesn't make sense.